guys? It's Tim from the Academy of the Mental Arts, and I got another video for you. Today we are going to be learning how to transmute anger and fear and enter a state of consciousness using mindfulness so that we can better make decisions, better see the truth, and also get to our highest potential at the same time. So let's check it out. Before any thought occurs and in between every thought, who you actually are. You're the observer of all thoughts. And each thought comes before your awareness, right? Because that's who you are. You are consciousness itself. That's why when you quiet the mind, you feel so peaceful and free and just vast, because your true self is that pure consciousness. Because it's only our identifications with thought and the attachments to those that provide that sense of ego or identity. So anyways, so the very thing about thought, right? So let's look at this. Now what you put your power on is what you put your attention on. Because whatever you give attention, you give life to. Because you're giving consciousness to that thought. That thought could be of anything, right? Person, place, thing. This could also be an event or a situation. Technically, still you're having a thought about that in the present moment. Past would be a memory. Future would be considered fantasy or imagination, right? Which could be a distortion because we don't know the future. But let's take a closer look, right? So we're focused on some kind of thought or event, and within a second our mind is already processing it, because that's what it does. It's the processor of information. So the mind has like hemispheres, right? Each side is a different hemisphere, and it's the left side controls logic and the right side is emotion. So that's what the L and E is there. And depending on the event, there's going to be usually there's a pathway that happens, right? Because especially if it's something unknown to us. And if it's unknown to us, there could be excitement, or there usually could be fear because of the unknown. So if it's a negative reaction to this event, you're gonna go down a specific pathway, right? So if it is fearful, if it makes you angry, resentful, it's going to trigger the stress response in the body, right? So it's going to trigger the sympathetic nervous system, and that is the fight or flight reaction. So let's take a look at that now, and let's go this way, right? We'll go this way in a minute, but let's go this way for now. So let's say that I had a stressful reaction to this. I'm immediately going to have a reaction, because that's how the habitual mind or the subconscious mind works, right? Because we have to, it's programs. So it's a fear program, and these programs can have different names, like fear of rejection, loss of control, fear of not having acceptance, same thing as rejection, death, right? All of these different things, underlying them is the fear of loss of life, loss of expression, loss of my sense of identity, belonging, because that all has to do with the 5 base needs from Maslow's needs. And I could go deeper into where these subconscious fears come from, but that's another video. Let's just say that these are the subconscious fears, most of them. But the thing about fear is that all suffering and fear stems from desire. Because if you desire something, you fear not having it, right? So every time there's fear, there's some form of attachment. But let's continue. So as soon as you have a negative, fearful reaction, your body, first, before your body experiences fear, the first thing that happens is that the thought, the neurons of the thought, I'm in danger, I need to fight, run, right? The autonomic fight or flight response is immediately going to trigger your body to go into fight or flight. And it's not that fear is a bad thing. Fear's meant to be there if our life's in danger. But let's say what I'm thinking about, my life may not be in danger, but I might assume it is, or think maybe some danger's involved subconsciously, and that's going to trigger my fear response. So the thing about it is, it's fight or flight. So when it comes to thoughts, it usually goes thoughts lead to emotions, and then that emotion will provoke a behavior. And really it can go either way too. These are all connected in a triangle. That's the CBT model. But let's see this, right? So the emotion of fear will trigger you to lose your power, because it's taking your energy when you're stressed. Your body's not meant to go into fight or flight on the regular. And because of the stress, it's energy, and it's wound up energy. And it's really meant to like escape from a life-threatening situation. That's why you need to fight or get the heck out of there and run. But the thing about it is, your blood leaves your head and it goes to your limbs, and it leaves your prefrontal cortex. So the part of your brain that you use for thinking, it doesn't even have any blood when you're stressed out, and because of that, you can't think straight. That's why when you're all mad or when you're afraid, you literally can't problem solve, or you make rash decisions because you're not thinking logically, because that part of your brain shuts down during this, because you just got to go. Your other parts of your brain like need to open up for you to escape, right? But check it out. So behavior, fight. If you overreact, that's self-destructing, acting out, lashing out, yelling, insulting, jumping to conclusions, among other cognitive distortions. And then you might go to flight too, which would be isolating yourself, ignoring whatever's going on, blocking it out, blacking out, getting away from, avoiding, neglecting, looking for an escape, dipping out, peeling off, minimizing, disqualifying the positive. So those are, your brain is going to make cognitive distortions like minimizing, jumping to conclusions, acting out, like these type of things. It's a fear response, right? And the same thing with anger. So anger arises because a need isn't being met, or fear of a need is not being met. And you want to be able to control this, but you can't, so it frustrates you. And that is always at the root of anger. It comes from wanting to control something that you can't. And it's crazy where anger goes in the body. When you get angry, literally the scans show energy goes to the arms and really in the hands too, because manos means hands, right? So that's how we manage stuff, that's how we handle stuff. It's how we try to manipulate, because we try to control, because it's manifesting. But okay, so that is going to trigger us to go back into the fight or flight response too. So how the heck do we get away from these negative, draining things? Well, the very first skill that is good to learn would be distress tolerance and mindfulness skills, because we need mindfulness to open our minds up, and we need distress tolerance skills to be able to handle the stress like this. So one of those tools from DBT is called the stop skill. And I wrote an arrow here because anytime you feel fear or anytime you feel anger, all you got to do is hit that stop skill real quick. So you stop, you take a breath or take a step back and observe. And when you observe, that's the key point right there, because you want to observe. You want to be mindful. You don't want to just go into an emotional reaction. You want to stop, pause, and really observe. And to do that, you got to take a step back, almost as if you're seeing things from the third person. And then when you observe, after that, you want to proceed. You want to proceed mindfully. So now the thing is, sometimes it's going to take courage to do this, to go to a mindful place. And part 2 will explain that. So make sure you guys check that out.